never slow them down. The Patriots are going to the playoffs despite Deflategate drama. Tonight, how the critics keep making them men on a mission.
Police getting closer to finding the inmate who escaped from a Rhode Island prison. The major clue they found in Framingham today. And
President-elect Donald Trump seemingly skeptical of U.S. intelligence, his doubts on Russian hacking, and how they could again point to a new leadership style. You're watching the NBC Boston News at 5. But we start with breaking news right now in Templeton. You take a look right now from Sky Ranger. This is above the scene as rescuers are tending to a horse that fell through the ice earlier. This video from overhead from just a few minutes ago as rescuers are tending to that horse. They just got out of the ice just a little bit ago.
Yeah, and we understand the horse is alive right now. You can see there is still a large response out there. A crane has been brought in to hoist the horse up safely. We, of course, will bring you more information on the rescue as we get it.
14-2 is it's a tough thing to do. So I think it's very cool for this team to be able to accomplish that.
And it is now on to the playoffs at home for the Patriots after a big win against the Miami Dolphins. And that 14-2 record that Tom Brady was talking about is even more impressive considering how the season got started. Good evening, everyone. I'm Chris Emma.
And I'm Audrey Assistio. The Deflategate suspension couldn't slow them down, and it's not the first time the team has rubbed success in critics' faces.
That's right.
NBC Boston's Jason Fraser is live at Gillette with the new Revenge Tour. Jason.
Well, good afternoon to you, Audrey. You know, for some people, the Patriots' success this season was a surprise. For others, it's what we really come to expect. But some fans told me the real revenge will come in February when hopefully the Patriots hoist the Lombardi Trophy here again. The Patriots season got off to a bad start. Even before they kicked off in the opener, Tom Brady was forced to sit out a 4-game suspension after Deflategate.
Everyone always wants to tear down the best. We're always the best.
He could easily be that hateful and spiteful guy, but you just see him every day, standing at the podium after the game, before the game, after practice, and just staying cool, calm, and collected.
But the Patriots have gotten their revenge on the rest of the NFL, finishing the regular season 14-2.
It'll be a lot sweeter if Goodell is up there at the end and handing Tom Brady the trophy. And
for those who follow the Patriots, their success is no surprise.
And I think where you have to start is at the top with Bill Belichick. There's the sign on the door when you come in. It says ignore the noise. And so I think the Patriots really take that to heart.
The Pats have proven the haters wrong before. After Spygate in 2007, they steamrolled through the league to an 18-0 record before losing to the New York Giants in the Super Bowl.
Brady himself has said, it doesn't do me any good to focus on that and spend my energy on the idea of something like revenge. It's about the here and now.
But some fans believe the ultimate payback could happen in February.
A little revenge on the Giants would be nice, but give us the best. Dallas is the best.
And we will have to wait in a couple of weeks to see if that will happen. The Patriots are on a bye week this weekend, but they return back to here at Gillette Stadium the following weekend. We are live tonight here in Foxborough. Jason Fraser, NBC Boston.
All right, Jason, thank you. And just a reminder for all of you Pats fans out there, tickets for the AFC Divisional Playoff game, they go on sale this Friday. We want you to show your Patriots pride. You can share your favorite moments from the season with us right now. All you have to do is tweet us at NBC Boston. And also tune into NBC Boston this Saturday for the NFL wildcard round. It's going to be fun. The Detroit Lions will take on the Seattle Seahawks out in Seattle. That coverage starts at 8:15 on Saturday right here on NBC Boston.
All right, well, some people are starting 2017 stuck at the airport. Severe weather is grounding flights in Dallas and Houston. The plains and Midwest are also bracing for some wintry weather.
Yeah, that certainly does not look like a whole lot of fun. Early warning weather right now, and our meteorologist Pete Bouchard joining us right now. Pete, nothing like that, but we have some precipitation our way, right?
Very well. Yes, we do. That's good. Yeah, precipitation.
Just for you, I did that.
I feel special now. Hey, it's better called rain sometimes, and it will be heavy at times tomorrow afternoon. It ramps up. We go from sprinkles and showers over to a steadier rain, and then eventually downpours for the evening drive. Gusty winds, too. It's all in the soup. And about 50 degrees or better by Wednesday before the cold hand of old man winter comes back to us. There's a lot of mild air. Look at this in Nashville and Cincinnati. Silliness for January. We have some cold across Montreal and Caribou, and it may be enough to keep us as snow in the mountains. But for now, it's just sprinkles. We're just quiet. Hurry up and wait for tomorrow and the rain to arrive. We have the timeline on that, how much to expect. Stay tuned.
All right, looking forward to that, Pete. Thank you. The inmate who escaped from a prison in Rhode Island is still on the run tonight. And now we know 2 corrections officers are on administrative leave accused of possible policy violations. James Morales escaped the Wyatt detention facility Saturday night. Police say he then stole a car from a convenience store in Attleboro. Sources tell us that car was later found in Framingham. Morales was behind bars on charges related to the theft of weapons from the Worcester Armory. Ahead at 6, exclusive new details on how an ex-girlfriend's home is becoming part of that investigation. And a baby is in stable condition after being exposed to fentanyl. Police tell us it happened on Treetop Way in Methuen. First responders arrived at the home on Saturday afternoon and found that baby not breathing. The little girl had to be revived twice, and she's still in the hospital right now. The Department of Children and Families is aware of the situation. And of course, fentanyl is a powerful painkiller that's been contributing to the state's opioid crisis.
Also in Methuen, police are now announcing a $1 million drug bust. And this all happened this morning on Glen Avenue. Police were responding to a report of a man in a cab with a gun. The officers frisked Robinson Rojas and found 15 bags of a drug called China White. They say the street value is now $1.2 million. However, police did not find a gun.
Heard a loud explosion. Both my wife and I woke up, kind of figure out what was going on in the house. After searching, we went to the front bedroom in the house and ended up seeing a pretty sizable hole in our front wall.
Just a terrifying way to wake up in Nashua, New Hampshire. That homeowner describing the moment an SUV rammed into his house right on Harbor Avenue. Justin Cates tells us that the car went over a gas meter, causing a huge leak. He also says that the neighbors there in that house had some minor damage. The driver did not leave the scene and was up and walking around after the crash. A bit of irony here, the homeowner is the city's emergency manager.
Well, the trial of a former executive tied to a deadly meningitis outbreak will start this week. Brian Cadden will be in a Boston courtroom on Wednesday to face murder charges. He was the co-founder and head pharmacist at the New England Compounding Center in Framingham. Prosecutors say the center used expired ingredients and had lax standards, resulting in tainted steroid injections. The national meningitis outbreak that followed killed 64 people.
Still no word yet on the cause of this huge fire in Lynn. These flames broke out yesterday on West Baltimore Street.
Now, firefighters were back on the scene today when a fire briefly rekindled. 65 people were displaced, and investigators think the original fire started in a bathroom ceiling. Now, some quick thinking may have saved lives during this fire in Oxford. 2 people were asleep inside the building on Main Street when the flames ignited overnight. A passerby saw what was going on and improvised to get attention.
He just was banging on the door saying, get out, there's a fire. And he was actually throwing rocks at my window, my bedroom window, saying, get out, there's a fire.
Well, fortunately, no one was hurt, but firefighters did make a brief mayday call. The building houses apartments and a hair salon.
And I also know things that other people don't know, and so they cannot be sure of this situation.
President-elect Donald Trump hesitant to blame Russia for alleged hacking before the U.S. presidential election. He's now promising to release his own information very soon.
Yeah, it's all despite reports from the FBI and Department of Homeland Security pointing the finger at the Kremlin. NBC Boston's Allison King is in the newsroom with the tension between Trump and intelligence leaders. Allison.
Yeah, Donald Trump says he has information that other people do not regarding alleged Russian cyber meddling, and he says he will release that information later this week. But in the meantime, he's making it clear that he is skeptical of U.S. intelligence gathering.
I know a lot about hacking, and hacking is a very hard thing to prove, so it could be somebody else.
Donald Trump seems to be breaking new ground again for a president-elect, this time when it comes to openly questioning the accuracy of U.S. intelligence, most recently at a Saturday New Year's Eve party where he said he knows more than the intelligence agencies.
I also know things that other people don't know, and so they cannot be sure of this situation.
It's perfectly legitimate for a president to push back against the CIA or the FBI, but you need to know what questions to ask.
Stonehill College professor Peter Ubertasio says the concern is that Trump will continue to avoid briefings and question intelligence recommendations and conclusions, as Trump did Saturday when he referenced the government's assessment that Saddam Hussein possessed weapons of mass destruction, saying, quote, "That was a disaster, and they were wrong."
Well, you know, they have gotten things wrong before, but they also get a lot of things right and a lot of things that we're not aware of that they get right on a daily basis. So I think that the danger for a new president is without all of the information that he needs to make decisions, he really won't know what questions to ask when he receives his briefings.
Cybersecurity experts are also concerned that Trump's comments and his reaction to the Russian hacking allegations could serve to encourage foreign hackers in the future. Live in the newsroom, Allison King, NECN.
All right, Allison, thank you. Certain types of malware have been linked to Russian hackers, but an expert says it can be difficult to determine the origin of such files and the motives behind them.
There's a team of people, the federal agencies working on this as well. You have to spend a lot of time looking at the evidence and try to determine what happened. All that takes some time and effort.
Now, the Washington Post walked back a report from Friday that said that Russian hackers had planted codes in a utility in Burlington, Vermont to penetrate the nation's power grid. The utility says its laptop was not connected to the grid, and it has no indication that any customer data was compromised.
Well, right now, Turkish police are searching for this man. They say these grainy photos show the suspect in the attack on a nightclub in Istanbul. 8 other people have been detained in connection with that shooting. ISIS has claimed responsibility for the attack that left 39 people dead and dozens of others wounded. Security cameras caught the gunman shooting his way into the club early Sunday morning. Turkish media reports nearly 2/3 of those killed were foreigners. An American is among the survivors of the attack. Jake Rock told NBC's Richard Engel he was playing dead during that violence.
Everybody was. When he shot me, I didn't move. I just let him shoot me.
Such a scary situation there. Rock is from Delaware. He says he was in a group of 9 people at the club. 7 of them were shot. All right, let's go ahead and get a check of the traffic with our Natasha Vermer. Some people heading back from the long weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do have some issues out there, especially in the Green Line D branch. We've got some moderate westbound delays, and Providence inbound 5 to 15 minutes delayed. The red line, though, on time. So you're really not going to face any issues on the red line. The Zachem Bridge, that is really, you can see this live look behind me. Moderate delays as you make your way into Boston. Beyond that, look at that, the Leverett connector, no major issues at this time. The rest of Boston, very quiet. Our one financial camera will show the traffic in both directions as well. The expressway in Boston moving freely. Really, it's been a holiday. Really, no major issues. The expressway northbound and southbound, we've got more activity southbound in Dorchester, heading away from Boston, heading into Boston. You're not going to have any problems. We'll send it back to you guys at the desk.
All right. Thanks for the heads up, Natasha. Appreciate that. An unusual online delivery order.
The message that one woman posted when she needed more than just food. Also, some wild weather all over the country with rain and wind headed our way. A mess holding up holiday travel and Pete's latest forecast, too.
And go to the gym for free. How you might be able to make it happen with your health insurance.
And NBC responding to every consumer complaint. Coming up, a new look at the new unit, getting your money back.
And ahead at 6, training your mind to drop a bad habit. The high-tech accessory that promises to make it happen. Welcome back. There are weather extremes across the country today, from blizzard conditions to record heat.
That's right. NBC's Sarah Rosario shows us the conditions interrupting some holiday travel.
Snow, lightning, rain, and ice is what thousands of Americans are dealing with on their trek home from a long holiday weekend. Overnight, severe storms moving through Texas brought damaging winds, hail, even a tornado. A lightning strike at this Houston area home burned a huge hole in the roof, causing a fire. Kevin Masterson, asleep when it hit, was saved by a neighbor who woke him up.
You could tell it was bad very quickly, that we had to get out.
Meantime, in the Northwest, many are digging out of feet of snow, more than 7 inches falling overnight in North Dakota alone. That same system bringing a wintry mix to Seattle, a first snow for that city on New Year's Eve in nearly half a century. The slick surfaces and dangerous driving conditions also impacting air travel, causing delays at SeaTac Airport. More of the same is expected in the upper Midwest. And it's all umbrellas in New Orleans, where torrential rain put a damper on fans headed to the Sugar Bowl today. Thankfully, the game is played inside the Superdome, so no rain delays there. Even President Obama and family are dealing with the same conditions, coming home from a sunny Hawaiian vacation to rainy, cold D.C. It's not what anyone needs as many prepare to head back to work and a messy start to 2017. Sarah Rosario, NBC News.
All right, and it looks like we're going to be expecting some rain of our own as well, right?
That's right. Meteorologist Pete Bouchard joining us right now. It's dry right now, but we got some on the way, right?
We have some rain on the way. Some of it may be heavy, too, as we go into tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, just in time for that evening drive. I know you're like running through those puddles in the car. 40 degrees, 34 is what it feels like. That's what you're dressing for. So it's raw. That east wind at about 8 miles an hour, that becomes a huge factor in this storm. Our exclusive Weather Underground network gives us a temperature of 35 in Andover, 36 in Woburn, and about 40 at Logan Airport, 39 down on the South Shore, and Weymouth. Milton is 37, Dedham 36 degrees. You're worried about or fretting about a freeze up. I don't see it happening. These numbers will hold through much of the night, although we are close in Worcester and Fitchburg. And besides, I'm not seeing a lot of precipitation at all tonight, really, just a lot of clouds. We're missing out on a good chunk of rain that's going through Connecticut and southern Rhode Island, and also a few sprinkles out through the Cape and the Islands. We will not miss out on this guy as he's gearing up to bring us a big, big slug of rain. Look at the severe weather down in the Panhandle of Florida and also down through Alabama and Mississippi. That weather system comes up the eastern seaboard and hits us good. It looks like a good soaking of rain. I know the thaw is going on in parts of New England, at least southern New England right now. It is kind of a drag if you have a backdoor rink that you're trying to keep going here. I know a lot of people do that through the wintertime. There are your showers right now down across New Bedford. Barely a sprinkle, really. I just checked the observations there. So low pressure goes up the eastern seaboard, and we have a pretty sizable storm on our hands. Ski country getting some snow. Here, too, I think it's almost too warm to really talk about huge accumulations unless you're up across the northern part of New England, northern Maine. Low pressure goes right up into Bangor, Maine. But in between this low and this front, right in here, oh, it's Wednesday. Yes, we got a little bit of warmth in there, just enough to get us to 50 degrees. So that little window opens up by midweek and we take it and run, right? It will be pretty balmy, but the winds will be kicking up too in the afternoon. So lunch outside is debatable. So through the night tonight, it's just a question of sprinkles and who gets them, maybe some mist and drizzle. We're saturating the atmosphere, so we're getting ready for this downpour that'll start to move in tomorrow afternoon. There it is. The yellow starts showing up around 3:30 and 4 o'clock. Again, right in time for the evening drive, so take it slow. And some of that rain will be heavy even into the 7 to 10 o'clock hour. After that, it seems like an abrupt shutdown as it pushes away. Our highs tomorrow in the upper 30s to lower 40s. There may be a couple of spots that get close to 50 degrees out on Cape Cod and the islands as well. And those winds out of the east-northeast, strong, especially tomorrow evening, tomorrow afternoon, coincides with that strong rain that moves in, the heavy rain. Gusts by tomorrow night, maybe up to 51 in Lynn, 53 in Barnstable, too. There's a possibility we might have some scattered power outages, or I should say isolated. It doesn't look widespread. Tonight, 35, cloudy with sprinkles, and then tomorrow, 42, as showers turn to a steadier rain. The extended forecast, the exclusive 10-day forecast now has the cold coming back by the weekend. See you next half hour.
All right, Pete, thank you. A new warning tonight for parents with marijuana now legal in Massachusetts. A study from the Centers for Disease Control says that pot use in high school may lead to other harmful behaviors. Scientists with the CDC, they surveyed a group of 10th graders from Washington State where recreational marijuana has been legal since 2012. 18% said that they had used pot in the past 30 days. These teens were also more likely to use tobacco products, e-cigarettes, and alcohol.
Well, if you're recovering from an injury and trying to get back into the gym, there could be a way for your insurance company to pay for your fitness routine. Doctors are teaming up with gyms to help people ease into their workouts, writing orders for exercise programs that fit the needs of patients. So before you even pick up that first weight, your trainer will know your limitations and how far you can push yourself.
I will know the background of that particular client or their patient and know what the doctor is looking for out of this fitness program.
And the program allows you to get a personalized workout in a group class without paying for a personal trainer. Right, well, most of us turn to delivery when we get the sniffles and don't feel well enough to cook.
Yeah, definitely not. But one British woman took advantage of a restaurant's delivery service to get more than just fish and chips. Now, this is a receipt right here from Feely's Fish and Chip Shop in Belfast. The woman asked in the comments if they could stop by the pharmacy on the way over, why not, and said that she was only ordering delivery because she was too sick to get the medicine herself. Well, not only did the restaurant get her the medicine, They also offered her a free meal once she's feeling better.
Wow, what a really nice restaurant.
Customer for life, I bet.
Fantastic. All right, well, NBC responds following up on every consumer complaint. Our Leslie Gatiss shows us the new unit aimed at getting your money back.
And a crime spree involving arson and stabbings, the horrific scene witnesses by the one woman in the middle of the rampage.
And dolphins rescued on Cape Cod, why part of a mission had them on the road.
And the Sky Ranger flying out now, checking on traffic conditions and tracking down the stories for us. Stay with NBC Boston. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. Every call, every email, it will be answered. That is the mission of NBC Responds, our new consumer investigative unit.
Yeah, we have a team dedicated to solving your problems. Our Leslie Gatiss is leading the charge, and she's here to explain how it works.
NBC Boston Responds is a unique initiative that you're not going to find anywhere else. Our goal is to respond to everyone who reaches out to us with a consumer complaint. At the NBC Boston Consumer Investigative Center, we're working to make things right for you, solving your problems and recovering your money. After you've tried everything, we're here to help.
Our specialty is cutting through red tape. Viewers have to kind of go through the process to hit the red tape first, but once they do, that's what we're here for.
Just go to the NBC Boston website and search Responds. Put in all of your contact information and a brief description of your consumer problem, and we'll get back to you and get to work on a resolution.
Even if they get in touch with us and tell us a tip that we can't exactly get involved with immediately, we take note of it, we keep it in our system, and if we all of a sudden get a flood of similar complaints, then we know that, this is a big issue that's happening in the area, and then maybe we can help later on.
We'll want to see any contracts, receipts, bills, emails, or letters that you have. But there are some things that you can't get involved with, right?
The big thing we can't help with is any type of legal disputes. It's already in court, if there are lawyers involved. A lot of people call them the child custody cases, and we just, as much as we'd like to, we can't help with that.
So if you do have a consumer complaint you would like to get solved, you can reach NBC Response by heading over to our website, NBCBoston.com. You can also give us a call at 1-888-521-NEWS. And again, we promise we're going to get back to you one way or the other and try to help you out.
Hey, that sounds good.
Yeah,
so,
big initiative.
Yeah, Leslie, how successful has the unit been in resolving issues for our viewers?
Well, it launched early last year, 2016, and it has been very successful. The consumer unit, investigative unit, has recovered more than $5 million for NBC viewers all across the country. We're going to keep a running tally here in Boston with the money that we get back for our viewers. And again, if we can't help you right away, we're going to keep your information in a database. And if somewhere along the line there's a trend we see, maybe we can get a resolution from a company for a group of people as opposed to one individual. So very exciting.
Yeah, very exciting, and you're going to be very busy coming up.
That's right. That's right.
Leslie, thank you so much. So to come here on NBC Boston at 5:30, Senator Elizabeth Warren trying to streamline future retail marijuana sales. She's trying to make the process easier for businesses.
And protecting kids from concussions. The investigators have the questions parents need to ask if their kids play football.
And new at 6, an idea to save rare pigs by eating them, why a farmer in Maine says it'll spare the species. Stay with us. Live at 5:30, busted. The man accused of starting the fire that destroyed a New Hampshire church, now behind bars. And police say that was just the beginning of his violent rampage.
Now that marijuana is totally legal in Massachusetts, the steps Senator Elizabeth Warren is taking to try to protect those who do business with pot shops.
And NBC investigators look into football and exposes the impact it's having on your child's brain.
This is NBC Boston News at 5.
And we continue to follow a major break in the search for a prisoner who escaped from a high-security prison in Rhode Island. You are seeing exclusive video of police searching for James Morales at his girlfriend's house in Framingham. Authorities say they're getting closer to catching him after they found a car he stole yesterday. Our Perry Russom will have more on this manhunt and a live report at 6.
A sigh of relief today in New Hampshire community there after a man accused in a series of crimes now behind bars.
Yeah, police tell us he's responsible for 2 stabbings and 2 fires, including one that destroyed a church. Our Catherine Underwood joins us live in Lebanon with the latest. Catherine.
Audrey, that violent 5-day crime spree started right here on School Street. Police say that 27-year-old man set fire to this landmark church. He was captured last night, but not before he allegedly stabbed 2 people in a bloody rage.
The worst thing I've ever seen or heard in my life.
Just after 9 o'clock Sunday night, a dreadful scream came from across the hall.
It was like blood curdling.
Rosemary Fox's neighbors had just been stabbed. She called 911 right away while her mother went to help.
Wade was drenched in blood from his neck all the way down.
Fox was able to identify the suspect as Anthony Bovair, the same man Lebanon police had been searching for since Wednesday night when they say he set fire to this historic church.
There could have been a fatality at any stage of this spree.
Police say Bovair's crime spree continued into Thursday morning when he lit another fire, this time in the garage at 68 Mascoma Street.
It shows you a pattern of someone who is very unpredictable and someone who has no regard for human life.
Bovair was on the run until Sunday night. Just about an hour after the stabbing, police caught up with him on Tannery Lane, steps from Albert Craig's house.
It was really concerning.
What's worse, he says, is seeing a 150-year-old steeple now in a pile of rubble.
It really hurts. It hurts in my heart.
A community on edge through 5 days of violence.
It's like, okay, what's going to happen next?
Now able to sleep easier, knowing Bovair is behind bars.
It was like a big sigh of relief.
Police tell us Bovair could very well be connected to other unsolved crimes in the area, and he could be facing more charges. Bovair's family tells me he's been struggling with paranoia and mental health issues since childhood. We're live in Lebanon tonight. Catherine Underwood, NBC Boston.
All right, Catherine, thanks so much. In the last hour, we learned that a third person has died in an apartment building fire in Holyoke. It's not clear how that fire started early yesterday morning. One of the other victims was killed when she jumped out of a 4th-floor window to escape the flames. 25 families lost their home in that fire, and city officials say the response from the community has been overwhelming.
What I saw yesterday at the scene and also at Kelly's school, where people were coming together, was hundreds of Holyoke residents and residents across Western Mass were coming into Holyoke to drop off clothing and food and toiletries, to the extent we're no longer accepting clothing donations.
The state fire marshal is investigating.
Senator Elizabeth Warren wants to remove some of the haze for businesses who will be working with pot shops. Warren wants to make sure that vendors who work with legal marijuana businesses do not have their banking services taken away. This includes chemists who test marijuana for harmful substances and firms that provide security for pot shops. Warren also says that helping marijuana-based businesses move away from a cash-only model also will help ensure that they're paying their taxes. Certified nurse practitioners in Massachusetts could soon be allowed to approve medical marijuana use for their patients. That's if new rules proposed by state health officials are approved. But right now, patients need permission from their doctors before they can register to use pot for certain medical conditions. A public hearing on this proposal, this rule change, is scheduled for tomorrow in Boston.
Well, today is New Hampshire Governor Maggie Hassan's last day in office before she takes another office. She'll sign at midnight so she can be sworn into the Senate tomorrow. Hassan's successor, Republican Chris Sununu, will be inaugurated on Thursday, so the Republican Senate president will serve as governor until then.
For the second time in less than a week, a group of dolphins have been rescued on Cape Cod. Yesterday, 10 dolphins became stranded in Wellfleet Harbor. Take a look here. Dozens of volunteers and staff from the International Fund for Animal Welfare, they spent hours trying to herd those dolphins towards the open sea using boats. Now, some of the animals were put on stretchers, then wheeled to some trucks, and then driven to Cornhill Beach in Truro, where they were finally set free.
Well, nearly a year after it closed its doors, a popular restaurant in Cambridge today returned. East Coast Grill is reopening. The restaurant, which specializes in seafood, has been a popular spot in Cambridge's Inman Square for 3 decades. Its owners closed down last April. They say they always intended to reopen, keeping the same concept.
Well, welcome back. So to come here on NBC Boston, a troubling discovery on the Cape.
Yeah, vandals strike at a cemetery, destroying property and leaving hateful messages on tombstones. What police are telling us ahead at 5:55.
Plus, taking a hit, NBC investigators look into football and expose the impact it's having on your child's brain.
And look who's here. Jeff Rossin from the Today Show in the house. He's here to tell you about a partnership that he's been working on with NBC Boston and what he's got coming up for you tonight on NBC Nightly News at 6:30. Stay with us.
Hey guys, Jimmy Fallon here. Join us for The Tonight Show right after NBC Boston News at 11. Same chimes, new channel.
Same chimes, new channel, here on NBC Boston.
Welcome back, everyone. Football, of course, is the top sport in this country with over 1 million kids playing every single week.
NBC Boston investigator Karen Hensel is exposing a part of the game that many parents might not know about. She joins us now with more. Karen?
Yeah, Chris and Audrey, according to the National Center for Catastrophic Sport Injury Research, in just 3 years, 20 boys have died of head injuries on football fields nationwide. Now, imagine that outrage if those were NFL players instead of kids.
Every hit,
High school football in Massachusetts is a great tradition.
every tackle
It's no bigger than it is here.
adds to the country's growing concussion crisis.
Is child abuse.
Kimberly Archie's son was a former football player who died with the brain damage associated with football.
Moms are the most powerful voice in youth sports.
Many parents believe the NOXI certified sticker on helmets mean they are safe, but some experts believe a helmet designed for an NFL player isn't safe for a child playing with a developing brain. Archie is suing Pop Warner, saying, like the tobacco industry, football has known the risk.
They knew there was no standard for the helmet, but they put a sticker on there and said that they had one anyway.
NOXI is the National Operating Committee on Standards for Athletic Equipment and has talked for over 20 years about creating a youth standard.
They still do not have a standard for youth football helmets. Surprise you?
It does surprise me because to us it felt like kind of a no-brainer.
Dr. Steve Olvey is a neurosurgeon who advises IndyCar and NOXI. It took him just over a year to develop a standard for kids in motorsports.
Should they have one?
Yeah, they should, and the data's there.
Dr. Olvey says based on his calculations, 600 to 700 high school football players go to the ER every week with concussions. But NOXI has said the injury risk for youth isn't clear. During a hit, heavier football helmets have a bobblehead effect, launching a young player's head whose neck is not as strong, often to the side in a rotational concussion.
I'd find the lightest weight helmet.
Most helmets weigh between 4 and 6 pounds with a plastic outer shell, but this helmet of carbon fiber and Kevlar is less than half the weight. The interior is the same as a racing helmet designed to absorb and diffuse hits.
Current Formula One helmet weighs only 2 pounds, actually better impact protection than the current collegiate or NFL helmet.
I think that for my safety and my future, I'm not going to the NFL, I need my brain.
A Big Ten quarterback, the latest to quit the game.
I've had a lot of concussions over the course of my career, a lot of which were in high school.
Researchers at Boston University say those high school football players take 1,500 hits a season.
Oh my gosh.
More than an NFL player. They also looked at the brains of 28 people who played football only through high school. 8, or a third of them, died with the brain damage of CTE associated with the game.
Why would a mom want to do more damage to their kid's brain than they would, say, their smartphone? If you wouldn't hit your smartphone 100, 500 times a year.
Archie says backroom deals are budgeting with a child's brain as schools work to save money.
Deals between schools and coaches and manufacturers. Typically, there are only a handful of companies that are really even allowed in the door, and they're often tied and bundled to other services.
Now, in Massachusetts, schools are only required to report head injuries, not concussions specifically. In federal court documents, NOXI said its equipment standards are voluntary and up to the equipment manufacturer to adhere to. Pop Warner said that federal courts currently recognize a lack of scientific proof of causation for CTE claims. Now, as a parent, you need to understand you do have choice in what helmet your child wears. Schools are buying in the spring, so make sure you start researching that now. Audrey and Chris.
All right, that's good to know. Karen, thanks so much. If you have a story you'd like the investigators to look into, send us a tip. Just log on to NBCBoston.com.
Still to come, Jeff Rosson of the Today Show will be right here in studio to talk about the Rosson Reports project that he's working on with NBC Boston.
And also ahead, twin brothers born in different years? The funny twist that'll give one boy bragging rights for life. And Pete's back.
I know how that worked out. Hey, Audrey, yes, we missed out on a lot of the rain today. Not so tomorrow. Heavy rain. I'll have the timing on that coming up.
With the start of the new year, new laws are now in place in Massachusetts. One of them will make it easier for citizens to obtain public records. Critics had said that the old process was slow and expensive. Another law requires the makers of pharmaceutical products to establish ways to dispose of unwanted prescription drugs. And perhaps the most notable addition is the increase in the state's minimum wage. It's gone up $1 from $10 to $11 per hour. Massachusetts is among 19 states that increased their minimum wage with the start of the new year. Some businesses fear that the added expense will hurt their bottom line.
All right, a look at our early warning weather now. We're expecting some rain.
That's right. Meteorologist Pete Bouchard joining us right now. When is that going to start, Pete?
It looks like it'll start as sprinkles overnight tonight and tomorrow morning, and then go to a heavier rain as we go through the afternoon. That heavier rain will get pretty intense by the evening drive, so it's a ramp up, as we call it. Gusty winds in the forecast, too. The 50s return by midweek, and much colder air will follow after Wednesday's little foray in the 50s. Our exclusive Weather Underground network in the mid-30s now through Reading and Woburn. Malden at 40 degrees. A little bit of a temperature contrast there, separating the men from the boys here. About 34 in Andover, about 38 in Milton. Weymouth at 39 degrees. We're near 40 out through Cape Cod and out through Nantucket as well. So showers came up and then they faded out. Just to about 195 down in southeastern Mass. And other than that, it wasn't a half bad day. We started with a little bit of sunshine. This is how we get our heavy rain, right? You have to bring in some thunder for that. Well, we won't see thunderstorms, but we will see the bouts of rain that come through the south and then march up the eastern seaboard. We're developing low pressure to the south, and that's how we get it here. That low passes pretty much from Providence to Boston tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night, too. There are your sprinkles and showers. So we do have a coastal storm. If you want to call it a nor'easter, go right ahead. I don't really want to use that term only because I just have those thoughts of like heavy snow, whiteouts, and we're not going to see that, obviously. This is kind of a coastal storm to me. And there will be milder air that sneaks up onto Cape Cod tomorrow, by the way. We should be able to bump it to 50 or better. In between two weather systems, these two lows on Wednesday, we'll get some sunshine and we'll also get it up to 50 degrees. So here's how it all comes together for tomorrow. Again, these showers spotty. No freezing that I'm expecting, even though up through Laconia we might have a little bit of a mix. It's completely out of our viewing area. The steadier rain breaks out around 1, 2 o'clock, and then it continues as we go through the evening drive. Gets heavier, the downpours move in, and then just as soon as you think they'd have established, they move away tomorrow late night. So the forecast overnight through morning, cloudy sprinkles in the 30s, and then that bump up tomorrow afternoon into the low and mid 40s. Unfortunately, the winds will start to howl with this coastal storm. Some gusts will be over 40 miles per hour late tomorrow night, and even getting up to 50 perhaps up through Lynn and Gloucester as gusts, not sustained winds. That's that surge you get. The sustained winds between 20 and 30 miles per hour, which is still pretty good. There might be some isolated power outages, pockets of these, but I'm not really hung up on that because I think it'll be a brief period, and then it pulls back late tomorrow night as that storm does pull back too. The extended forecast here, early warning weather, exclusive 10-day. We'll start with 7. Let you digest that before I throw 3 more at you. And then Friday, we have a couple of flurries. There is a coastal storm involved here, but I don't believe it's going to hit us straight on. Nonetheless, I think we just have to keep our guard up. There's plenty of cold air post little storm, I guess, or flurries on Friday. That's what I'm forecasting. 26 Saturday, Sunday 22, burr cold, and then Monday start off in the single digits and go back up into the mid-20s. Does look like another moderation in temperatures. Seems like this winter we can't establish a pattern, whether it be cold or warm for a long period of time. Natasha, over to you with traffic.
Hey, Pete, we're going to have a really nice time on the roadways right now. Hardly any delays out there. Now look at the T. We've got Kingston outbound 10 to 20 minutes delayed. The green line is on time, and so is the red line. So we had some earlier issues on the green line. That has all been resolved. As for your crashes, we just have one out in Raynham. This is 24 southbound at Route 44. starting to see some delays southbound of that, so you just want to be extra careful in that area. But if you take a look at our cameras, the Zakem Bridge, you can see moderate to minor delays southbound into Boston. No major issues, more or less the same story in the expressway in both directions into Boston, and also the expressway down in Dorchester. Southbound delays look nice, northbound plenty of space in between the cars. You should also be pretty good on the Pike. That's your latest check of traffic. We'll send it back to you guys.
All right, Natasha, thanks so much. This is pretty cool. A new mom who just gave birth to twins has a unique way to tell her kids apart, and it has to do with when they were born. Sawyer Shea arrived in Arizona on New Year's Eve on 2016 at 11:50 p.m. and brother Everett was born just after midnight on the first day of January 2017. Pretty cool. The mom called both of the births perfect.
That is such a great story for that family going forward. All right, so we are very excited here that NBC Nightly News will be following NBC Boston News at 6 starting tonight.
Yes, and we're very excited that Jeff Rawson of NBC News is in studio with us right now. Thanks for joining us, Jeff.
Happy to be here. So cool to be here. Congratulations on everything.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're very excited here. Understand you have a special report for us later tonight?
We do. We have a very important story tonight on NBC Nightly News, immediately following NBC Boston at 6. We are talking about smartphone apps and your children. If any of you have kids, you know your kids all day are on their phone. You have no clue what they're doing. So many children got new smartphones for the holidays, so we thought this would help. There are 3 apps you can download right now tonight, fairly inexpensive, and you can keep a really close eye on what your kids are doing from exactly where they are. We are talking about their exact location at any given moment. By the way, teenagers are actually shivering in their boots as I say this. You can also read their texts in real time. You can know what they're searching for, and as we know with cyberbullying in the news, you can, for example, type in the word suicide to one of the apps. It'll give you an alert if your child types the word suicide anywhere. You can block all kinds of websites as well, like pornography, and you can see the suicide right there, or nudity. Anything you want to do, we're going to show you what the apps are and how to get them tonight on NBC Nightly News.
Some pretty interesting stuff, Jeff. And we also understand that you've been working on a really cool project with NBC Boston, right?
Yeah, we are just all tied up in NBC Boston.
We're loving it. We're loving it.
A big NBC News hug to NBC Boston. Tomorrow morning here on Today, we are teaming up to figure out which workout helps you burn the most calories. And guess what? We worked with one of yours, NBC Boston reporter Alicia Palumbo, doing spinning. She's with a personal trainer, and she's running. So can you actually burn more calories with which one of those workouts? And we want to see if the free one, the running, burns the most. Do you have to join a gym? We're going to give you all the results, and you get to see Alicia in very, compromising, positions as she's doing all the workout. She was a great sport. Tomorrow morning on the Today Show, but we'll see you here at 6:40 a.m. as well, right here on NBC Boston.
I am so impressed with Alicia right now. That was incredible.
Good.
Hey, Jeff, thanks so much for being here. We appreciate
so much.
it. All right, so to come here, we're going to head to Cape Cod on a very troubling discovery.
Yeah, the damage done by vandals and why police say they're investigating it as a hate crime.
Police continue their search for the missing prisoner in Framingham as more people could be in serious trouble. That story coming up live at 6 o'clock.
A troubling story here. A cemetery on Cape Cod vandalized with messages of anti-Semitism and other hateful language. Police in Barnstable are now on the hunt for whoever did this.
Yeah, NBC Boston's Jonathan Cho joins us live from Barnstable with more. Jonathan.
Yeah, this is just some of the graffiti we can show you. Most of it's too offensive to air, and this isn't the first time the cemetery's dealing with vandals.
I don't know where the respect is going anymore.
Paul Bouvier lives right behind Oak Grove Cemetery and wants to know what motivates these vandals.
What will they get out of this?
Police say they found 6 headstones with graffiti, 2 others knocked over. All this happening in the past week. Some of the crude messages, anti-Semitic, targeting Barnstable police and referencing the devil.
Some of the words that were written on these tombstones we probably should not say on the air.
Investigators spent the morning collecting evidence in the backside of the cemetery, here on C Street. The graffiti was first reported by a man walking through last Tuesday, and the damaged headstones were discovered by a maintenance worker this morning.
Drug deals, there are a lot of things go down back there.
Neighbor Pinckney Mathis says vandals have struck the cemetery before.
Big, open, dark place at night. What are you going to do?
Investigators say a spray paint can and a red fire extinguisher were left behind. They have no suspects. Live from Barnstable, Jonathan Cho, NBC Boston.
All right, Jonathan, thank you for that report, and thank you for joining us. I'm Chris Emma.
And I'm Audrey Assistio. NBC Boston News at 6 starts right now.
And now at 6, exclusive details on the search for an escaped Rhode Island inmate. The Massachusetts community now being searched.
It's a story that really shows that the opioid epidemic has no boundaries. A baby nearly dies after ingesting a dangerous drug. I'll have that story live from Methuen.
All right, Alicia, we'll see you then. And the waiting game is on. We will head live to Gillette as the Patriots prepare for 3 possible playoff matchups.
This is NBC Boston News at 6.
But we begin at 6 with NBC Boston exclusive video. Massachusetts police searching for an escaped Rhode Island convict in the Metro West. That man is still at large tonight. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for being with us. I'm Shannon Malaire.
And I'm Phil Lipoff. The search for James Morales is now focusing on Framingham, where the car he's believed to have stolen was discovered today.
And tonight, 2 correctional officers who were on duty when Morales escaped are off the job. NBC Boston's Perry Russum has been following the story since early yesterday, and he joins us now live with exclusive details. Perry.
Those correctional officers are under investigation for policy violations, and in the last hour, the U.S. Marshal's Office released a new wanted poster for James Morales. They say he may be armed and is considered extremely dangerous. This is video you will only see on NBC Boston. Federal and state officers searching for the escaped prisoner, James Morales, in Framingham.
Yeah, it's nerve-wracking, especially when you live here with kids. It's not comforting.
A police source telling us this is where Morales' ex-girlfriend lives, and the car he stole was found empty only a block away.
So yeah, I am nervous because I have no idea what his relationship was to the neighbors next door. I don't know if he was affiliated with a woman that lives there.
Morales has been on the run since New